You were in a coma for 3 weeks. Is there anything you remember in those 3 weeks? And if so, how did it affect you later on?
I feel like the coma, you remembered stuff, but it had something to do with all the drugs that I was on, I'm sure. They were just like these very bizarre, kind of psychedelic experiences. And how'd they affect me? I just never forgot them, but they were very, very strange. But I felt like that was probably the morphine, and I don't know if you want to hear about it.
As far as a follow-up question, you've been through so much as far as going through your robotic stage, and one of those stages was the car accident. Did you blame anyone for the car accident, including yourself? And if so, did you forgive yourself or anyone for the accident?
That's a good question, because the first 3 days I couldn't really remember anything. People kept saying stuff to me and it just didn't make sense. But I was very angry with Jimmy Iovine. I don't know if anybody knows who Jimmy Iovine. I was very angry, but then after, I remember the third day, I just everything, the anger went away, and I knew I was a fighter. I got 14 brothers and sisters. We're survivors, and I knew that I was gonna make it. Whatever this was, I was gonna hustle it out and make it good. So I didn't blame anybody. I hate blame.
Did you bring a guitar?
I did, but it's just so early that I left it in the car. I'm just like, I'm not gonna, it's so early to sing. I'd sound terrible, and then I'd ruin the whole image of who I am. Lost in a cloud. It'd be terrible. No. It is very early for me. I'm used to getting up at like 10 or 11.
But you're rocking tonight at the Indie Fest.
It'll be, I'll warm it up and oil it and grease it, eat some pork chops and everything. It'll be better.
So what made you get into music initially?
Let me think, what made me like get it? Well, I was always, at Berkeley High, I would always go around the music room, and you had people like Joshua Redman, you had people like Jubu. I don't know if y'all know these people, they're amazing. And I just listened, I thought, wow, man, these dudes are amazing. And I was just kind of a fan of it, but I couldn't play. And I was in a program for kind of at-risk, low-income students, and it was called Upward Bound. Does anybody know Upward Bound? And I didn't like academic, but I just wanted to get away and do something different. So I was in the program. They had a talent show. I thought, talent show, that sounds good. I can do that. And I did a When Doves Cry. We did like this whole dance routine to When Doves Cry, and we won. I was like, damn, I like this. People with the adulation, the attention. I thought, this is great. I didn't know where this was going to go, but I was like, I want to do that. And so then I started teaching myself how to play, because when Doves Cry, I'm like, okay, Prince, how did he do it? We taught himself all these instruments, so I'd go and I'd sneak into Cal and in the piano room and just start messing around. And I kind of taught myself how to play.
All right, who's in your top 5? So it sounds like Prince is one of your influences.
Definitely, he's definitely one. I think Skip James. Anybody know Skip James? Anyway, Skip James is huge, especially for what I'm doing now. Let me see, someone y'all may know. Fred McDowell, Skip James. I listen to a lot of that. I have to say Sly. I mean, all the English bands that did blues, that gave it back to us. I love all that. Top 5, that's tough, man. That's a tough question. Well, of course, Robert Johnson, but everybody says Robert Johnson. He's just like, every time you listen to Robert Johnson, you learn something new. At least I do. So, yeah, I think right now that's where I'm. I don't know of all time, but right now.
I know you were involved in Black Ball Universe, and you're really connected with the Oakland music community. Can you speak a little more about what the Oakland music community has done for you?
Well, Black Ball Universe is, of course, the collective I'm in, and I call it a survival collective, because basically it's just feels us people in the business, artists, filmmakers. We kind of decided that if we were going to have life easier in our 40s, that we should empty our bank accounts and put it all together. And that's kind of what we did. So that's how I was able to walk around the streets all day and play music in Oakland. And that's still going. That collective is amazing. One of our guys, Malcolm Spellman, was just hired on Empire, the show called Empire, as a producer. So it's been a good year for Black Ball Universe. As far as the Oakland music scene, I mean, you know, I may be a little, I always tell people, I'm pretty old, so it's like, I'm not that hip. I just thought the Oakland music scene to me was get out there. I know this was a city of truth. I know the people that came from this city. Growing up here, I used to see Todd Shaw, which y'all call Too Short, selling his tapes before there was like this whole thing about I'm independent, I'm progressive. He was progressive to me. So, you know, Sly Stone's from here, Green Day, all Creedence Clearwater. You can go down the list. Hammer. There's Tony. Who I met Dwayne Wiggins actually on the streets when I was playing. And there's such a rich culture here. There's such a rich history of music here. And I think that the standard is very, very high. I think we have a lot to live up to. That's how I feel about the music scene. There's some great people that I see out there, you know. I don't know if it's fair to name them, but no, there's some great people out there. But I think that about the Bay Area, the culture, history, man, the roots, man, is deep. And you gotta know what it is. Because if you don't know what it is, then you don't really know how high the standard is. So I think that we have a lot to live up to. That's what I think, and including me. I'm hardest on myself.
It sounds like the times where you felt like a robot is when you've either been just acting automatically or just felt out of touch with your life and the things that you're doing. So what do you do when you start to feel too comfortable and start to feel too disconnected to stay engaged and not turn into a robot again?
I mean, I think the times that I felt robotic when I thought about the drug dealing and the violence, I think I was just lost, you know what I mean? That's what like a song I did, Lost in the Crowd. If you follow the crowd, you'll probably get lost in the crowd. So I felt like I didn't know who I was. And I was just, the society was telling me that I had to have money. I had to have this, I had to have cars. When I was in the major labels, they would tell me I had to have hit records, and I'd look this way and it had to sound this way because I look at it like they're trying to commodify your spirit. I feel like that's what killed people like Kurt Cobain and Michael Jackson. Even Tupac was such a nice person one-on-one and such a productive person in the studio. It's just that, I don't know, capitalism, I'm not some socialist or anything like that. I think that all these systems are bad. I think that there's something strange about capitalism and creativity, like with music and people's spirit and their soul and their lives, that it can get you so lost, man, and it's painful. I've been in that room before, you know, I know it's very painful. I feel that once I went through 3 weeks in a coma and crippled and lost all my playing abilities. I think that grounded me for life. I feel connected for life, but there's nothing else. If I need something else, then I'm in trouble.
During your phases of robotism, because you said you played punk as well, what was going on inside of you going through those different musical periods?
Oh, the different incarnations of myself. Well, I think when I started doing the punk thing, I was just a little insecure because I couldn't play anymore. And I had been this multi-instrumentalist, and I was very insecure. I thought, wow, punk music, it's kind of energetic and angry, and I could wear all my braces and be kind of a freak, and I really enjoyed that. So I think with music, it's one thing in my life that keeps me honest. Like if I'm going through the punk phase, man, that's what I'm going through. I don't want to hear anything else. When I went through my chocolate butterfly phase, all these different incarnations of myself, I just really believed them. And now Fantastic Negrito, I don't know how long this will last, but I believe it, man. And it's like she asked me who my influences, and now it's all the Delta blues artists, and I'm living and enjoying it. It's so much fun to be these kind of different characters and these different styles of music. But I just want it to be the truth always. If it's not the truth, I'll just quit again and go grow weed again or something. I don't know. But I did quit for 5 years. I quit it all.
What did you do?
Grew weed. I made a kid. I really wanted kids. I got into some urban farming. Felt like a farmer. I tried to be a polygamist. I tried all kinds of shit. What else? Weed, polygamy, kid. That's about it. I did music licensing. My music kept getting licensed in a bunch of films. I mean, that's strong. I suggest that to any artist. Get your music in films. I think my first film was Leprechauns in the Hood. And all these different incarnations have created a revenue stream. And so get into music licensing, y'all. Get your music and film.
So you were here in Oakland when Oakland was like at its roughest, right? Like me, I was born and raised in Oakland, so I've seen it all. I've seen, you know, like how bad it was to the changes now. So from that Oakland then to the Oakland now, how has that shaped you as an individual? When people ask you, yeah, I was raised in the hood.
Right.
Now I'm back, and I was in LA. Now I'm back in the hood, but it's really not the hood. So how has that shaped you now as an adult?
That's a good question. You know what shaped me? I feel like it shaped me into a bridge. I feel like a bridge because I know that time of amazing productivity on the creative level. I grew up in that time when In Vogue, Tony, Hammer, even E40 a little bit later, everybody was, and then Green Day, everybody was kind of hitting at one time, and you felt this amazing spirit of creativity and originality in Oakland. But then here's the new Oakland, which is beautiful too. It has a kind of this sense of renewal and adventure. And I think you just gotta bridge them. My old ass can show some of these young people, and then they can show me, and I kind of look at it as a bridge. I'm not one of these people, change is what's gonna happen. I just believe that. I don't ever look back. It was better back then, and it's better now. I think with any movements, I think in creativity, they come from struggle. I do believe that. So we'll see. I'm excited about it all.
So can you tell us a little bit more about what your creative process is like, different from when you were making music before and trying to blend into like the robotic sense of what you're supposed to be? Is the creativity part, the way that you actually form the music, drastically different, or do you still take the same influence as you did before?
Well, I think no, it's drastically different because I hate to overuse the word, but now it just comes from look, nobody gave me $1 million, you know what I mean? So nobody owns me. So I don't have to answer to anybody, and I can be very honest about my experiences and write about them. And I'm not, if you go to my website, it says, fuck a pop star. I have no interest in that world. So I think it does say fuck a pop star. I think there's an honesty, and I think it takes a long time to get there. I think that's what makes the creative process in any medium incredible, like honesty. I think so. That's the difference. I'm not like trying to sound like this or they want you to sound like that. Look, I remember they showed me a picture of Macy Gray too, like because we had the same hair. It's just you have no idea, And we laugh, but that kills you as a young person. That fucking kills you. I remember driving around like feeling like a failure, you know what I mean? So now it's just as a joy. I look at my son. My son keeps me honest. He'll take my hands off the piano like, no, Daddy. Like, I like this one, So no, there's an honesty. I just care about that. I don't care about making money or any of that stuff.
I was wondering, as an artist, how do you get over the writer's block?
The writer's block. I think I have one of those brains that just won't stop. But I think sometimes you just get away from everybody. I just get away from everybody. Don't take a shower, don't shave, look homeless. Just get into you. And then have someone that this is one of the greatest things I do is that I do a lot of great things. No. This is one of them. There has to be someone that's going to be very honest with you. I've got people that be like, that ain't happening. That's not you. As one of my closest partners says, man, that's not you, man. We robbed people on the streets together. We sold drugs together, blah, 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 blah. You buried your brother. That's not you. And it hurts. But I built that. You can't do it alone. You need that collective. You need that group of people. So the writer's block, don't force anything. Just stay, artists, be real, man. If there's any time that we need an artist to be real, it's right now. Be real. Have no fear, man. Put it out there.
Thank you.
Right on.
I want to talk a little bit about the give back piece. You talked about the destruction in the community. How do you give back to the community and support some of the young guys that have a different way to think about how they move through life?
That's very easy. When I was young, we looked up to people like Frank the Bank. We looked up to people like Felix Mitchell. These are real people. They're real people, and they all ended up dead. The greatest thing that I can do, I can't go out and march. That ain't my style. I can't go out waving banners and shouting slogans. That ain't my style. I gotta raise my children. I gotta teach my children, because that's where they learn first. I have to be an example when people look at me, like, look at this cat, man. He doesn't, man, I don't do drugs, man. I'm not standing on the corner. You know, I'm right down here in my office. You know, being an upstanding citizen and being an example to people. That's what I can do. That's how I give back. But I think first, and I always say it, is you got to raise, especially boys. You got to raise your boys. Black men, we got to raise our boys. One thing my father did, I was like, why does he do this shit? My father was an immigrant. He used to be like, you never argued with anybody with a gun. I was like, what the fuck? My whole life he would tell me that. He would tell me, if the police stop you, you shut your mouth. You say, yes, sir, because you can't win out there. They will kill you. And so when I think of all these kids getting killed, I'm like, man, where's that voice? Where's that voice that was in my head that when the police did stop me, in the 80s when it was fucking on. I've been pulled in the back of stores, all that shit, ready to get my, there's a way, you have to have the tools to deal with some Nazi motherfuckers. Every police isn't evil, I don't believe that. But I'm only touching on that because that seems to be an epidemic of young black men being gunned down. And I just, as a black man, I think, damn, I got stopped by the same police. With these same, they were scared to me always. I always felt like the police are scared of me. Look at them. I'll never forget one instance being pulled over in Berkeley. Because Berkeley, they're a little bit easier. Oakland, they're not playing. The police officer, it was late at night, as he was going back to his car. I remember he was going back to his car like this. I never forgot it. He backed all the way up like this, and then he got in his car. And I was like, damn. Rough out there. So that's what I feel like it is the most important thing, and I know it sounds boring. Just you gotta raise your kids. And if you don't have a kid, you gotta pick a kid or a cousin. You got to give these kids tools.
What do you think about the punk scene? What do you think about Green Day playing 924? Is the scene changing? Are we like being open-minded? Are we maturing? Are we forgetting what punk was? What do you think?
Well, punk. The people I was into, man, Green Day are great songwriters, but that was more like pop to me. I was more into Bad Brains and Fishbone, the Dead Kennedys, just probably an age thing, nothing against anybody. And the Dead Kennedys are from here. So everything's changed, and everything's gonna keep changing. And we're gonna keep forgetting things, and then something great will come back and remember, and make us remember. Some great artist comes along and reminds us, but I think it's ever changing. I don't like to be one of these people that's like, oh, it was so much better, boy, back in my day, we used to shuffle and jam, boy. I'm not into that. I'm just like, hey, it's here right now. Are you awake? Are you alive? Clouds, sunshine, rain, I'll take it all. Bad day, I'll take it. Let's work with what we got. That's how I feel about it. The truth always wins, always.
I wager that probably most of us in the room haven't had $1 million record deal. And
you don't want one.
Well, that's kind of my point. I hear that from an administrative side, there's so much expense assigned by the record company to that $1 million, to the advance in general. I've heard that you have to make the whole record out of that in certain cases, and I guess it all depends on the negotiation. And it's not necessarily, here's $1 million check to put in your bank, per se.
It's not like that at all.
Right, and I was kind of curious as to what happened administratively and after you got that $1 million.
You want to know where the money went.
I want to know where the money went. You have it after
you see these shoes?
To buy a cup of coffee. Yeah.
That's where the money.
Yeah, right. There we go.
No, I think that's a good question. The shoes, baby. $1 million, when you get $1 million record deal, well, you got managers, you got lawyers, you got all these people who get paid. So I think the artist ends up, I think as an artist, I'll be honest, I ended up with about $400,000. And I had to make a record with that, which I did. And then the rest, I sent back to the hustlers back in the town, and I never worked again. You know what I mean? We just keep making money with that. That's what I did with it. When I had that deal, that was in '94. I've never worked anywhere. I just kept it alive. Keep the money alive. But the record label, yeah, they want all that back. But they're just numbers. I don't know. I had 750 grand coming on the next one, and I was so depressed. This is a real story. You could look it up. I was so depressed. I don't even know if was I suicidal. I don't know what. I walked away from it. I walked away from it. I said, keep it. Because I was done. I'd been on the label 5 years doing nothing. Money really has no value to me. And some of my business people are like, don't say that, but it's true. It just doesn't. I've seen it. I've seen it when I was a teenager. I've seen it in my next robotic phase, on a major label. It don't have no value to me, man. People have value. Because I'm in business now with the same cast from the 80s. We're all on the collective together, There's some new young blood coming, but people invest in people, man. And then everything takes care of itself. When a company gives you $1 million like that, man, they want your soul. They want your soul, and that hurts. I don't know if anybody's ever been in that situation where they're asking for your soul. And I couldn't do it. I wanted to do it. I was like, shit, yeah, let's give up the soul. They're like, that soul sucks. Your soul sucks, and that's. It's funny, but I really relate to all the Whitney Houstons, all these people, because I feel like I know what happened. I know what happened to Michael Jackson. You kept trying to make Thriller. The record company, they want Thriller over and over again. Or Kurt Cobain, it's like you kept trying to make Smells Like Teen Spirit. Maybe not even consciously, but there's this evil fucking spirit, man, in the room. And it's just, whew. Because as creative musicians, as creative people, like, the music is fucking real to us, And you got to sell that. It's tricky. It's tricky business. That's why I suggest go test your songs out on the street and connect with people. That's what I feel like Fantastic Negrito is, like the anti-robot. Go connect with human beings, because that's really what music is. It's not all this business, and I sold 10 million. Fuck all that. It's just music, and it's beautiful. And it's medicine.
What does it take for a nobody to sing with a somebody who's like you? It's good, trust me, it's good.
You and nobody, get your ass out of here. Nobody, I don't even know what that means. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Every human life has value. It's what you think of yourself. You are what you think you are. If you think you're a nobody, then you got some work to do. Because everybody's fucking amazing. And to just go further with that, what you want is what you're gonna get. You ordered that shit. Every time, if it's bad, if it's messed up, if it's a relationship, whatever, you ordered it. Like, man, that's right. Shit, frog legs with cheese, that's what you ordered? I feel that way about life, about everything. What you want, young people, man, I was like, I'm gonna get me a record deal. I didn't really have the talent. I didn't think when I look back, I was just insane. When I went to LA, I was like insane. Man, I went in 90 and 94, I had a deal, 4 years. I started playing instruments when I was 18, 19. I thought I was something. And so, that's what I became. I didn't grow up playing music. People at Berkeley are like, you played music? No, not then, I didn't. But you have to believe in something that's bigger than you. You have to. And even, I remember there's stories of me, when I was hustling on the streets, I was the worst. I was the worst. I remember there's one incident where my best friend in life, still my best friend, had put me on. That means that, gave me a turf, I worked this block, then I'm making some money. I started making money, I cut him out. And then I remember he had to come to me and look at me like, dude. And then I was like, oh man, I must be crazy. But I just thought I was like, okay, I'm a kingpin. And I'm like, yeah, got this block. I'm like, I'm shutting him out. So it's all about what you think you are. So now, I thought I was Fantastic Negrito 2 years ago, and sitting in my office at Jack London Square, and I jumped up. I'm like, I'm Fantastic Negrito, and I hit the streets, and that's where I am now. It's true. So that's the answer to that. The nobody shit is bullshit. Everybody's, work on who you are. Be honest. Honesty works. You don't need therapy, fuck depression, all that. Just be honest. And that's hard. Took me all my life. I'm saying it's easy, but it took me all my life. So good.